What is up, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
How are we doing?
We're
Sorry
back
for us being a little
in the
bit late there.
building.
We're all messing around with some equipment changes that we've done just to make sure that we're coming across
We're all
a little
dealing
bit
with
better
different
for
crises
everybody.
at once.
Yeah, at least I don't have any
Ladies and
Halloween
gentlemen.
decorations on fire.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, did you check?
That is very true.
Yeah, well, I'm not
hell.
using
Don't
live
say that,
fire
Noah.
anymore
Oh,
since
hell.
that. Yep. So no live fire anymore. All right, so everybody, thank you for
No
joining
live
us
fire.
today. We are going to be talking about our favorite Unalive moments in the Terrifier current trilogy. So All Hallows Eve and the short films are out for this one. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some news and some happenings that are going on out there. So thank you for joining us. And we're going to start off with some news that I think we're all kind of maybe a little bit pissy about, and so is everybody else. And that was the announcement of the American Psycho remake.
Dude, I am
Why would
telling
I ever
you.
have any type of issue with this?
Here's the deal, man. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, guys. The fact of the matter is that the movies that we want to see being remade, like they get made 20, 30 years ago, terrible quality, great story, not filmed well. Those are the ones we want to see. But American Psycho is a classic. I mean, dude, why do we need to go ahead and reboot that? It doesn't make any sense to me. It was literally perfect for what it was, filmed beautifully. Performance was out of this world. Lines from the movie to this day is still being quoted. Why do we have to do this? Doesn't make sense.
I heard somebody
just this.
Yep, I heard somebody try to justify it. It's like, oh, well, we want to kind of update it a little bit because, there's not video stores around anymore, blah, blah, blah. So?
Order it on
that's not a major
on Amazon.
The first time I watched this movie, there were no video stores in existence, and I still very much enjoyed the movie. The movie's going to be bad mainly because it's only there for money, not for what it can potentially be as a reboot or a remake.
Yeah, and you know they're going to screw with the ending on this too. So they're going to come up with some way to change it, to have a surprise, and then it's just going to spoil it, and it's going to be like the Poltergeist remake.
Like right here,
Marcus,
Jared,
what do you think?
Jared has a good idea.
My question is whether or not...
What?
Oh, Marcus is muted. Muted, Marcus.
Marcus, you went mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Okay. No, I was wondering if it was going to be set in the 80s again.
I don't think so. I think they're going to do a modern retelling of it in the current times.
I mean, that's what made the movie so beautiful,
it would
though.
still make no sense.
I don't know, man. Like I said, it's Christian Bale did a hell of a good job, and I want to go to some of the comments real quick, Dave. But as you see, look, cash grab, right? Same thing. Look, movies should be left alone, right? And then CG. I do agree sometimes, though. I don't mind remakes if the remake is good. Yeah, that is true. But you know how hard it is going to be able to top this movie? You know how hard it is going to be to top the original? It's out of control.
They sort of did a remake of this movie already. I'll say this. and that movie is called Tragedy Girls. Tragedy Girls, right here. This movie came out. It was straight to Hulu in 2017, and it's essentially almost the same exact thing as American Psycho, but it's updated for the modern times, where the two girls are dealing with high school struggles and they're doing things for likes, and they want to become a serial killer so that they can scoop everybody on their podcast and talk about it. That is the closest you're going to get to American Psycho in a remake, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I saw
man.
that.
I don't know.
The movie never even got a sequel, though.
I know it didn't get a sequel because it went straight to Hulu. Nobody paid attention to it like Behind the Mask, right? So, you have great movies that just go nowhere because there was no love for independent films a few years ago. And we get this remake and reboot stuff because Hollywood's stuck on the notion that they think, oh, well, original IPs, nobody wants to see that. They want to see existing IPs. And then when existing IPs come to the box office and bomb, everybody looks at themselves dumbfounded.
They didn't appreciate real cinema.
Well, here's the deal. This is why Terrifier is such a big deal. Terrifier 3 is such a big deal because it shows you that independent films are where it's at right now. I'm calling it, dude. Because people are going to get tired of the same old shit over and over again. It's just human nature. And plus, when you have independent films, you have no one to answer to, and you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
And this is what people want. They want to be entertained.
Now it's a perfect segue, but William Watson brings up a great point here. So we have Jeff Goldblum in The Fly 1. And this is why The Fly is such a good remake, and The Thing, and The Hills Have Eyes, because the technology advancements and the time for it has advanced the story, right? They didn't just, retell a story and not make any enhancements to it. All the special effects and everything that came with it enhanced the movie as well. So when you get The Thing and you get The Fly as remakes, it just looks fabulous, and the retelling is great.
Oh, absolutely. And, that's why I have the problem with the American Psycho, because Christian Bale killed it, man. Like, how do you? And then, like I said, it was beautifully made for the time it was filmed in. So where do we go from here? What more could we add? What other actor are you gonna do that's gonna top Christian Bale's performance?
I can tell you who they're gonna try and get in there. It's gonna be people who have like a similar hairstyle and are big names amongst young adults. Tom Holland and Timothy Chalamet.
Oh my God!
But it's definitely what it's gonna be.
Dude, and it's gonna fucking bomb. Excuse my language. Oh, damn, we already 8 minutes. I dropped the F-bomb. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it's gonna bomb just like Uncharted did.
Yeah.
Oh, please
Uncharted,
don't even
very popular game, right? And it bombed.
Imagine just seeing Nathan Fillion's like, you know what? We want Tom Holland instead.
Oh my God. Let's not. Please, let's not.
But you did mention it. So independent films. So Terrifier 3 dropped to number 3 this week, and essentially they 51% drop off, but $9 million. But look at that box office, $36 million total so far.
That's crazy.
Yep, on a $5 million budget.
Yeah, it's already almost tripled its budget. So like that's tripled its budget from the last movie overall, and we're only on the second weekend. That's great. Keep it going, guys. Keep these independent films going.
And it dropped $2 million
watch stream. What?
Dave, go ahead and pull it up again, because it just dropped to 3. Look at the weekend. Go up into the weekend box office.
Oh, what the new stuff come out?
So on IM there's an IMDb thing right here. Hold on, I just had it. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, Box Office Mojo.
Yeah, Box Office Mojo. So check this out. I have it up right now. I can't share, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. So
drop me the link. I'll pull over the link.
Okay, I'll drop the link to you. I'll drop it in the private chat. Let me go here.
It was a $2 million budget too.
It was no, I thought it was $5 million.
2.
All right, so let's see.
All right,
here.
so I'm having technical difficulties. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, all right, Dave, it is in the. Nope, never mind. Again, it's not doing it. Anyway, so here it is, guys. It's Box Office Mojo, and if you go to Box Office Mojo, you're gonna see here when it says weekend, it just dropped. It If you go into daily or weekend, which one? It just dropped to number 3. Still, it was up. Yep, here we go. Terrifier 3. Thursday was still up. And then on this weekend, yeah, it just dropped down to number 3 on Saturday and Sunday. But on Friday, it was still up. And on Thursday, it was still up. So, again, even though it dropped down to number 3, it doesn't matter. This has been holding the top spot. It didn't drop by much
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that big of a difference.
It's out of control.
And if you one of Damien's interviews, he said that they may re-release it around Christmas time.
I hope so, man. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, so that reminds me, everybody that's on here, don't forget to drop a like on this video. But also, we have the current campaign going where we can get the unreleased cut released for Christmas time, because there is 5 scenes that they took out of the film, so there's about another 25 minutes of the movie that's been removed from it, so we're trying to get that back. And with the announcement of the 4K and the Blu-ray editions, those extra minutes are not coming back to us, not in deleted scenes and not being added to it. So
you know what they should do? Re-release it with the extended stuff in theaters during Christmas time and call it Terrifier 3 Unwrapped Edition.
Oh my God, that's so great. That's great.
Dave, we have the link right now if we want to show the audience. But yeah, so on Friday, it was number 2. Thursday, it was number 1 this past weekend. And Saturday is when it dropped to number 3. I'm telling you, it's out of control.
All right. I'm pulling that up there right now, Danny.
Here, go down a little bit. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Incredible.
That's nice.
It's crazy when people who are making content give the fans what they want and what it and what it shows.
Noah, to your point, Noah, this is why Deadpool and Wolverine was such a success.
Yeah.
This is why it was such a success. And I'm glad that Ryan Reynolds, Dave, I know you said it's going to age poorly, but here's the deal. This is why, though, it was such a success, because Ryan Reynolds did it for the fans. Like, this is why when people say, oh, well, part 1 was better than part 2. But if you ask any comic book geek, right, part 2 is better than part 1 because all the jokes, everything was towards the fans that really go to see this movie.
To the first one, as far as like storytelling in the second one. And it was funnier too.
Absolutely. And then part 3, we got everything we ever wanted. We've wanted for 20 years for Wolverine to wear it, not only the suit, but his cowl, and he got it. You know, and then look at the numbers. It doesn't lie. Disney Plus and all the other Disney stuff did not do well. Even though everyone's saying Agatha's doing great. Compared to what? If you look at all the other series, right? All of them were
compared
trash.
to the past pieces of shit that they've left.
Yes.
Oh, and to argue against your point about it not aging well, the American Psycho is actually the perfect argument against your point, which is...
Really? How many people are going to get that Jennifer Gardner was married to Ben Affleck and they got divorced in 10 years or 15 years?
Are going to know what video cassettes are?
That is true.
It's the same. It's the same concept. It's going to be outdated content, and that's why they're updating it in the reboot. But we don't need the reboot because we like the original stuff. So all these jokes that are going to be outdated are still going to be funny, and people are still going to enjoy them. Just as when they're watching American Psycho, you really just enjoy the overall concept of the movie. I can tell you now that there are people in like younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha people that already don't know what that stuff is. So it's like it's already kind of happening.
But that's the beauty of the film, because the movie came out in 2000, but it was set in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what that nostalgia factor of it is what made the movie so brilliant.
Yeah, but the remake is to modernize it. Is what Dave was saying. So the idea was to modernize it. So, but the modernization of it is not necessary because people like the original for what it is. They don't care about the outdated technology and references. So if Deadpool is going to have references that are going to be outdated, just as most movies are going to have, whether it's in referencing something symbolically through their overall story or just having flat out fourth wall breaking jokes in Deadpool. Whether it's outdated or not doesn't matter. It's gonna for what the movie is good, and I think people are just gonna come back and enjoy watching the movie for what it is, with or without the outdated jokes.
This is going to be like the Psycho remake. when they do this. It's gonna come, people are gonna hate it, and it's just gonna be forgotten forever.
Are you talking about like the TV show, or are you talking about like the movie remake?
No, so I don't know if they remade the movie Psycho back in 1998.
98.
Yeah, and it was with Vince Vaughn, and that movie was just totally destroyed after it was released, and nobody ever talks about it ever again. It's like it came out, it got trashed, and it just fell into the ether, just like the Poltergeist remake. Nobody talks about that either because it was just
I
damn
actually
bad.
forgot that there was a Poltergeist remake.
I didn't even know there was a remake.
I think it came out like 2013.
15.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
there's some decent names attached, but I think what we
Oh,
got to
there's
like
really good names attached.
didn't we get through like 3 minutes of it at home, and then like what we were watching buffered, so we didn't get to watch it, and then we were spared from it.
I don't know. I know I was just starting to smack myself in the head watching that movie.
Well, like CG said, look at here. So Departed and Scarface, remakes, and but here's the deal. The Departed was a foreign film first, right?
Yep,
and
Infernal
so
Affairs.
and then the American remake was better. Scarface, right? That was shot so long ago. If we did Scarface now, it would be hard to top Al Pacino's performance. Then not only that, look at Old Boy. Old Boy was absolutely incredible, the original. And then you get Josh Brolin, who's not a slouch whatsoever. Very, very good actor. But it did not compare to anything to the original Old Boy. The original Old Boy was just, there's something about sometimes Korean cinema that just nails it on the head.
Oh, yeah. Wait till we see Train to New York and see how good that does.
I don't even want to think about the possibility of them redoing Train to Busan in America.
They already are. Yeah, I think it's been filmed. All right, let's talk about some of our other Terrifier stuff. So we talked about box office. We talked about our love-hate idea with the remakes, especially the hate for the American Psycho remake. But now we're going to talk about some spoilerish stuff. So I'm going to quickly throw up there our spoiler warning. Please let me know in the comments if you have not seen this Terrifier 3. And then we'll see how we may adjust it to make it a little bit easier for you.
You've been warned.
You guys got to watch the movie so you can watch this part of the video.
Well, I'm not seeing anybody here saying that they did not see Terrifier. So we talked about this when we were going over our reviews and where we think we're going next, and that is with the character Jonathan. So it's come up in a couple of interviews right now with Damien Leone talking about Jonathan's death and saying that he wanted to have a misdirect in the film where that was saying, hey, that's Gabby's head in the birdcage, and then saying, oh, surprise, it isn't. And the reason why he did this character kill off screen is because he did not want to disgrace the character. He loves the character, so he didn't want to it's like, all right, well, I'm going to put the character on the screen, have him killed off, and then just kind of dishonor the character in the entire franchise for that. So as of right now, and I'm a little bit in shock, but I don't kind of believe it.
To me.
Jonathan is officially dead, according to Damien Leone. So what's everybody think about that?
I called it. Didn't I call it though, Dave? Dave, I called it. I called it, and you told me I was wrong. I called it. I told you he was really dead, dude.
Seems a little too good to be true, especially when the movie's still out and you're dropping this information in like interviews and stuff like that. Seems a little like right. It's like, oh yeah, he's dead. He's dead. Like the movie's still released in theaters, and he's he's dead.
Yeah, but still,
the one reason why. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say the one reason why he is saying that is because he's getting asked that in interviews now, and he's getting shit from fans because of it. It's like, how could you do that to Jonathan? Is he really dead? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yep. And so he's answering the question about it.
Well, here's the deal, though. I really do think there's a plan for it. I think, honestly, that we're going to get it in 4. I really do. Because like our theory said, I think he's going to use Jonathan against Sienna. Guaranteed.
I mean, if
I thought
if it was a respect
interesting opening sequence
factor,
for the show for the fourth one.
Oh, go ahead. No.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If it was a respect factor for the character, he could have taken Jonathan out like how they did Dewey in Scream 2022. You know, something major that would like really affect the fans.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I really do.
That sounds like
Sorry,
we got a
little bit
lag.
of lag.
We got a lag.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head, Marcus. I think it's something that is gonna stay with people for a long, long time. You know, I think did it do us injustice? I think a little bit, but that wow factor, I think you're right. We're gonna be talking about it for a very, very long time, especially Dewey actually dying. You have this white knight who always gets himself in a situation, and he is the survivor guy, right? Not the survival girl, but the survivor guy that he always survives, and then finally, yeah, and well, he always got stabbed, and he had the limp in part 2, you know, and all this other jazz, and it's just like, oh, Dewey's gonna be all right, and then he dies, and we're like, no, why not take Gail? Gail should be dead, dude. Gail got stabbed, and she survived.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've said that, and then they don't even kill her in 6.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Well, that's unless she's
William.
part of the whole cult.
Yeah, William. Yeah. So yeah, Jonathan is really dead, bro. Yeah, is actually confirmed from the director, man.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is another misdirect. Maybe. Because I can't buy killing off such a major character in that way.
Yeah. Good opening sequence. Like you start directly in hell with Gabby being found by Jonathan. You cut back to the real world incidents where we get Art on the bus, but he's mortal. So we as we're theorizing that the pale girl was keeping him powered, he's mortal now. So while he's trying to take out the bus driver and the girl reading the 9 Circle book, he's having issues because he's bleeding out and he's human, so he can't really fight back as much. So he fails, runs off, and Sienna's going to try and find him, and her trail gets led back to these people. She talks to them, sees the 9th Circle book, and that's where her knowledge of the 9th Circle book comes to start. And that's the opening of the movie. That's how you kick it off. Like, I think that would be pretty simple. You see that Jonathan's not actually dead, because let's be real, he's probably not. This is probably just publicity stunt. Let's be real. And if he is, then there's still a lot of potential story there. But I don't know. I think that it's because of people, like you said, people were asking him and giving him crap for it. I think that it's just to shut people up, so he doesn't have to keep saying it's it's so officially confirming just for the fans, and also why would you tell them the truth, especially now of all times? Like, the movie's still out, some people haven't seen it. And it's yeah, Jonathan's dead. It seems like he's either throwing another misdirection in there, or he's just trying to get people off his back.
I could partially agree with that. Noah. I could partially agree with that, but I really think it. David, there's a lag.
All right, Dan, let me spit this out before I forget it.
Go ahead.
I would agree with that, Noah, but Damien's pretty forthcoming in his interviews. He doesn't really fly any bullshit in any of his interviews. He's
that
straightforward.
Would make this the perfect opportunity for a lie.
I don't know. I don't know if he go down that route.
I just think he's not revealing what's the purpose of it. That's what I'm telling you. That's why I think we're going to find out in 4. I promise you, we're going to find out in 4.
Jonathan.
Absolutely. I think maybe we didn't deep dive into this last time. We kind of now that I'm thinking about it, we kind of said, oh well, maybe she has to face her dad, or maybe she has to face Jonathan, or maybe this is a setup that she has to go against her whole family to test her will.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Because now you have Gabby, right? Which I still call to this day. I think Gabby's the chosen one, not Sienna. But let's say, for instance, Gabby's not. Now you have Gabby, you have Jonathan and her dad, possibly bringing back her mom, right? Because her mom is dead the whole night. And now she has to do what someone with a strong will has to do, is like a test. You know what I mean?
Her aunt and uncle, too.
Yeah, her aunt, uncle, bro.
Yep.
And
Could
her
you
best
imagine?
friends.
Yep.
So-
Could you imagine their demons and she has to slaughter them all? Oh my
Wow.
god, dude.
So the Easter egg video dropped on the channel, and while I didn't catch the Michael name being tied to the Lost Boys, thinking maybe it was tied to Mike Levy, somebody in the comments called out is Michael, the Archangel. I was like, oh my god, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense if he's the Archangel. But I agree, Danny. I'm thinking that we're getting played again when it comes to the Chosen One, just like we did in Terrifier 1 with the fake out final girl.
Yes.
And I think
yes.
it's Gabby. It's Gabby all along.
Yep, I think so too. Because remember, she's a kid. She's innocent. You know what I mean? I can see her transforming maybe into that character that Sienna's dad drew. Right, like she with the sword busts open to this archangel that's like a Valkyrie-esque, full-blown woman that actually kills everyone. You know what I mean? Who knows, dude? Maybe we're just overthinking it as always.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, the Shaw family could just be messengers deliver like on the earth to deliver a message to the Chosen One, which is Gabby.
That is true.
Yep.
Oh, I got to be healed, Danny, for 2 seconds. What if, because Dave, you know I like my horror movies to have a terrible ending. What if Sienna failed and they're all demons, leaving the door open for part 5?
You know, I think we talked about that in the last live show, like where Jonathan had us at certain points thinking like, whoa, well, maybe she's just imagining all of this stuff. And I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. It was like, well, maybe she's already dead and now she's just kind of in a purgatory type state.
That is true. Maybe she did drown in the second one. Interesting. That's a good one.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about the other news with Terrifier, and that is that that weekend and that week coming out after Terrifier 3, we were told that Terrifier 4 is the definitive end of the film, and now Damien's like, well, I don't know if I can wrap it up in 4, so there's possibly going to be a 4 and a 5.
He's like, I'm having so much fun.
You know what, though? That goes to our point when we said it, because remember, Damien said the original idea for 3 was over 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So if you broke it down into 3, 4, and 5, cool. But to me and Noah's point, like last time that we talked about, how do you not let it start falling off? I mean, 3 was grandiose.
Yeah.
3 outdone part 2, which was great. You know, even though, you know, I said that I did prefer 2 over 3 story-wise because I felt like 3 was a build up to 4, right? But then if you go to 5, is 4 going to be a build up to 5? Like a lot has to happen in part 4 in order for it to succeed into 5.
I think 4 would need a definitive end with just the knowledge of a potential continuation to 5.
Yes,
because you can't have it on another cliffhanger or another like what the hell is going to happen. You have to have it like, all right, we did it, but we know what we still have to do in the future, and that's what brings about 5. Because then, other than that, it's just going to be a little too much.
Yeah, and
I think
to your point, Noah.
Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, to your point, Noah. Like how me and Dave were talking about, maybe Art becomes the big bad in 4 that has to defeat him in 5. Or there is a big bad revealed in 4 with Art as a right-hand man or whatever that has to be defeated in 5. But something big has to happen, like you're saying, in order to make it make sense to continue to 5. Because let's say Sienna destroys everyone. Let's say Sienna destroys everybody and yada yada. And then Art is back. So what would make sense for Art to come back in 5? He has to be a bigger version. He has to be a bigger bad now.
All right. So mark your calendars. October 20th, 8 p.m. exactly. I'm calling it. The end of 4, Sienna dies.
I love that. Like I said, Gabby's the one. Yes. I am 100% in agreement with you. 100%.
I'm hoping 4 will be it. Because I don't want this franchise to wear itself thin. You know, like other franchises are.
I mean, if he does a 5, he could potentially intentionally write a story where he takes a large hiatus in between 4 and 5, so that the actress of Gabby like matures and like ages up to be the next like full grown the chosen one or whatever. So she's not doing it as a kid in 5.
Yeah, well, the script is not written yet, so
Yeah, exactly. So who knows
David
what we're
Howard
getting.
Thornton had released in the last couple of days saying that he hasn't sat down to write the script yet. So we figure probably not going to see a script to maybe sometime in the middle of next year, and by the time they start winding up, we'll probably not see them start filming to either the end of 2025 or somewhere in 2026.
Do we even have a year for part 4 yet?
No, it's not officially greenlit. It's just Damien saying there's going to be another one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and you know, really quick, Dave, before we jump on, hey guys, thank you for the likes. For those of you that like so far, let's boost that up for the algorithm, please. You guys are awesome. The algorithm helps us to become even bigger and better and spread our videos. So please keep doing that. Love you guys, and don't get me wrong, I'm reading all your comments. And I love what I'm seeing in there. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, it's not greenlit. The original intention was for 4. Right. So I think we should end it in 4, dude. Like Marcus said, and Noah said, and I said, I really do think they should end it in 4. But if there is a way that you can get this climax to happen that goes into 5, that makes us want more, like, oh, we need a 5 definitely, then sure, why not? But I think, you know, let's not wear ourselves too thin. We don't want another Freddy. We don't want another Jason. That we get so many sequels that some are bomb and some are just terrible. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, like ending the Terrifier movie series isn't closing the door to other characters in the franchise that are beloved. I mean, like, you could do other movies and bring them in it. Like, because if like say Sienna or Gabby are the chosen ones, why would they only be chosen to fight a killer clown? Like, like there would have to be like more that they're going after. I mean, like, you could do other stuff with these characters if you wanted to.
I don't think it works.
CG made a perfect comment. CG said, "Why not make part 4 a 2-parter?"
Yeah, why not?
That's what part 3 and part 4 are technically.
Yeah, technically it is. And but yeah, I think honestly, Noah, yeah, cool. But I think instead of the chosen ones being like a spinoff or to more stuff, maybe we can have art coming into, you know, different movies, or instead of calling it Terrifier, right? Now it's a whole new premise of art popping up somewhere else. You know, who knows? Who knows? Right?
Art versus the Evil Dead.
All right, before we switch over, we got this one here.
Art space.
Where we send
Jason
every
X.
horror franchise to die in space.
We had Jason X. Listen, I'm
He's
not
got the
gonna lie
ray
to
gun
you.
from Black Ops 2.
We had
Listen,
Leprechaun in space too.
That's true.
And Jason.
I mean, Jason X was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty bad movie, but I'm not gonna lie.
It was fun as hell. It was so fun.
It was fun. It was so fun. It's such a guilty pleasure for me because
here's your machete back.
Yeah, we love Friday the 13th. Me and Marcus love Friday the 13th, but Jason X is such a guilty pleasure. Like when we have Jason, like Super Shredder in it, oh my god, it's such a guilty pleasure.
We have the start of humans and robots intermingling in very promiscuous ways. It's such a stupid movie, but it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then there's Jason in Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's Jason in Hell. I want to see, honestly, I would love to see the Tom Savini Jason. The black mask with the flames.
With the with like the flame trident from the game.
Yeah, from the video game.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
All right. So
I gotta figure out how to make a movie first.
Shit, I'm in trouble next October when we rank franchises, sitting here with 3 people from that love Friday the 13th. This is gonna be a battle. Heavy drinking that night.
Oh
yeah. What do you mean?
So we're gonna...
I don't like him that much.
Well, 2 people that like him.
So
that
we're
much.
gonna, yeah. So we're gonna switch over to talk about our favorite Unalive moments in the Terrifier trilogy. We're going to not count the second universe of Art the Clown, so All Hallows Eve and the short films are going to be out of this segment. We were originally talking about for a brief second, and then we came to our stand and we would rank all of the the Unalive moments. Almost said it. All of the Unalive moments in the 3 franchises, 3 films, but it was like 50 plus. So it was like, nope, can't do that. So we're going to talk about our top 5, and essentially how we're going to do this. We're going to do a little bit like the show that we have David Howard Thornton on, where he talks about his 5 favorite horror movies for Christmas. We're going to go from 5 to 1, and we're going to go round robin style. So Danny, since you're to my left, I will start with you. What is your number 5?
So guys, this is my throwaway, but I absolutely loved it. In Terrifier 2, I absolutely hated this character. But when Barbara got shot in the face, that was probably one of the most satisfying kills for me of all time. Like, out of the franchise.
Things are gonna change.
Dude, I hated her character so much. And as soon as did this, and R was like, with the gun, boom! I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm not gonna lie, like me, Dave, and Marcus talked about, we had overbearing parents when we were young. You know what I mean? We have old school moms. I get it. We got yelled at and all this other jazz, but I just felt like she crossed the line a little too much, man. I think she was just over the top because of her husband and everything else that went on. It was just too much, man. I just couldn't wait for her to die.
Terrifier 2 making some of these scenes justifiable is not okay.
Oh, dude, it was so justifiable. It wasn't even funny. So justifiable. But yeah, that's my number 5.
You got
the only sin she committed was burning dinner.
And no seasoning. And no seasoning, Marcus. And no seasoning.
and cursing on the phone, cursing at her daughter while being on a call for customer service.
Yep.
All right. So no, we're gonna switch over. What? Yeah. No, we're gonna go to your number 5. Everybody that's in the chat and the comments, you go ahead and you can list your 5s out there. And once we're done with our 5s, we'll reveal some of your 5s. So, no, what is your number 5?
So my number 5 is at number 5, only because I don't think it technically happened in it only happened in the dream sequence, but like the entire clown cafe scene. Like when he's just mowing him down with the Tommy gun, and then he just pulls out the mini flamethrower and he's just dancing with the girl that's on fire. Like it's so the whole scene is so funny, but I just love that because he's grabbing stuff from the bag is so while it wasn't I guess technically I don't think it was technically real, which is why it's only listed at my 5. I love that scene. It's such a great scene.
That's a good number 5. That's a really good number 5. Marcus, what do you got?
So for my number 5, I have another hated character, but Brooke. I felt that scene between her and Art was awesome and pure carnage. Like he was straight brutal with the acid and the club. Man, I love that scene.
Oh yeah, she definitely got a beating that she deserved.
Well, I feel like Allie got the beating that Brooke deserved.
Yeah, so I'm going a little bit different here. So I'm not in my list. I'm not going with people who deserved it. I'm going with the fun of the scene. So the 5th most fun scene for me of people being unalived is the cat lady in Terrifier 2. So seeing that whole thing now, while we didn't get to see the unaliving on screen, just having her, her flesh peeled off and then having Art wear it and paraded around, coming up the steps and everything, it was fantastic. It was creepy. It was one of the things that made my mouth drop. I was like, oh my God, he just did that. So I really loved that scene. It was really good. So I'm not like you, Danny, and Marcus, where I have to oh, well, this character sucks, so they deserve to die.
Listen, Dave, it reminded me of Buffalo Bill,
shitty
dude.
People get shitty payment.
Yeah, that cat lady was definitely Buffalo Bill style. You know what I mean? Which is a good homage. But Noah, while I was away, I heard you, dude. Clown Cafe was definitely great. And then Marcus, I think that kill was too good for Brooke, and I agree with Noah that that should have been Brooke instead of Allie. Yeah.
I mean, not only did we get a great scene from the Clown Cafe too, we just got a hell of a beat too. Stop on, but I can't. I can't sing it for copyright. Sorry.
And when he's like, it's so good, dude.
It's great. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we got William saying that all the kills in Terrifier 3 should be in the Top 5.
Yeah, that's the, yeah. I had so many of my things on here from 3 that I had to work stuff around just because I was having so much fun with all the ones from 3.
Oh, but he did give us this entire list. So number 5 is the Halloween shop.
Okay.
Oh
go
yeah, that
Ricky.
is a really because even the build up to that scene is really good too.
Yeah, with the googly eyes.
Yep. Number 4, we got the alley bedroom scene. Number 3, we got the janitor decapitated in scene 2. We have the addict kill in Terrifier 3 for number 2. I'm reading them out of order, sorry. And then number 1, the Santa Bar Unalive scene. Yeah, it's an interesting number 1. I like that one. I like that one. All right. So, Danny, what do you got at number 4?
So I have at number 4, and again, is because I love it. This was a hard list, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. But number 4 was Jen, Mark, and the kids in the beginning of Terrifier 3. I absolutely love that. And especially, I've been telling Dave, and if you guys were on the last live stream, you heard, I've been telling Dave for a long time. It's like, why are we sparing the kids? Why are we always like, it's a feel-good moment? Listen, no, this is a horror movie, right? And the fact of the matter is that they did it so ingenious, is that you have the kill off screen, but you can hear it.
Which makes it
unalive, my friend. Unalive.
Sorry, unalive. My bad. That's only one strike. We're good. I think we're still good. So unalive them off screen, right? So it really plays your mental when you're just hearing it and then just showing the bits around. Oh my God, beautiful. Same thing with the husband getting unalived brutally, right?
And you still barely see it until it until like
absolutely. And then we already know.
It was such a different atmosphere in scenes that you get from Art the Clown when he's doing what he's doing, and it worked. We only got that scenes like that. We only get scenes like that like very rarely. I don't even think we've gotten a scene like that in the Terrifier franchise, and it worked as a one-off. Just so gruesome, so not Art, and then it's like, oh hey, we're cutting back to the fun stuff.
Yes, but not only that, like it goes to show that you can still do it. In a terrifying way without having to show it.
Yeah.
And then on the other side too is that when he finally got to the little girl and then he did this thing, we already knew what was going to happen. You didn't need to show it.
Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my number 4.
I rarely get in arguments with people on social media when it comes to these things, but this one person was going off in the Art the Clown Appreciation Society group where it's like, oh, why would anybody want to see the extended cut of this? Do you see what they did to kids? It's like, no, I didn't see anything they did to kids. They didn't show nothing that they did to kids. They showed aftermath. They didn't show anything to the kids. They didn't show anything like Michael Myers bashing a kid's head up against the side of the car. They didn't show a kid's arm getting bitten off by Pennywise. They didn't show anything. So unless
they let your mind do all the work for you.
Yes, exactly.
And that's more terrifying.
Exactly.
And Dave, to your point, Pennywise in the remake in part 2, when he actually ate the kid, come on, bro.
Yep. Exactly.
Come on.
You didn't count to 3. Munch. You got Pac-Man. You were the pellet to Pac-Man. You got power pellet.
Nom.
So anytime anybody says, oh, well, they're killing kids on screen, it's like, nope.
Oh my God. And the scene at the end of the first one when Pennywise is pretending to be Billy or whatever his name is, like, and then his older brother has to shoot him with the cow, the thing is like that, like, even though it wasn't him, like, it's Jesus. Like that, like, yeah, like we've seen worse things actually happen to kids on screen in actual, like, non-independent films. This was just your mind playing tricks on you. So whatever you thought of is completely your fault.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, unalive kids on TV.
Yeah.
Oh
William,
my God,
nope. They definitely did not spare.
No,
definitely did not spare him. And then CG, they act like they're doing him because it's new to this franchise in part 2. Kid with the cereal. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
All right. So Noah, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is when we were talking about I believe it was CG's one favorite with the Halloween store scene. And I said, I love the build up to that scene. I have to try and separate the build up to certain scenes to the actual action happening, because that would have put all of my top 5 rankings probably just on Terrifier 3 scenes, because I loved the build up to all of these scenes. So number 4 would have been like number 2, because I have the mall scene with the bomb. Because like,
bro,
so
I called
that
it.
entire buildup is so fun, and like he's coming in there with the bag and he's got the gifts. I was like, one of those is definitely going to take out a lot of people, and the buildup to that scene is great. Him being just a great Santa, like a fun Santa and a great Santa, and then like the whole connection he has with Sienna, them seeing each other, like that's awesome too. But you have to talk about it right before the explosion goes off to the after, like as the aftermath is going off. And that scene in particular doesn't put it past the number 4, but it's just so awesome because you see him standing there just looking with the sunglasses on and like, hey, here's my gift. He's just sitting there relaxing. He's got the guy's actual beard on his face still. It's such a fun scene. I love it. That's great.
The moment that sticks out to me on that entire scene is when they go to kick him off of the chair, and he freaks out and he points up at Santa Claus above him, and then points to himself.
I know.
I love that part. Yeah.
The body humor that David Howard Thornton brings into the character is just is so amazing.
And you think he can't get better. And he does. It's just out of
this
control.
movie proved that he can evolve that level of comedy that he has.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I called the bomb thing, and Ashworth. Yeah, thank you for watching, buddy. We really appreciate it. Absolutely. We really appreciate you coming in.
We're gonna bookmark your question. We'll come back to that once we're done with our list. So I got it bookmarked now. We're gonna come right back to that one. All right, Marcus, what you got at number 4?
So number 4, I have Terror from the first Terrifier movie.
Yep.
One, because it was just such a good callback to the Terrifier short film and All Hallows Eve. And it was so unexpected for Art to pull. What was it? I think it was a 45. But yeah, I loved it. And then he just kept going.
Yeah. It's a little shocking that Terrifier is on the list for you, or anybody that may have it on the list, because
I had a couple of those scenes that were like I was pondering on, because there are a couple of ones that like I was like, oh shit, I didn't think that was gonna happen, and then it happened.
That's why I would put it on the list for the oh shit moment that whole scene was when it played out. But the fight up into it and everything was so good, and then just like offering her, I was like, oh my god. It sticks with me, but she would have been a great final girl to even see progress in the series.
To even maybe like team up with Sienna, if they wanted to do that route.
Yep. Yeah.
But too bad, so sad.
She's dead now. Haha.
Sucks to suck.
Womp womp.
All right, so my number 4 may be low on the list for everybody else. So it is the alley bedroom scene. I have that at number 4.
Oh, wow, that's really low, Dave.
Yeah,
that's really low.
Yeah. There's 3 scenes that I like a lot better than that one. But
interesting.
That scene is really good. It's fun. I like the whole entire scene. And that's one of the rare ones that has a full chase scene that goes into the bedroom, and then everything unfolds. So, it may be because and we talked about this before, I really just didn't like the character Allie. No. Was a fan of her.
Yeah. You did mention that before.
Yep.
Okay. That's a fair assessment. I mean, I'll talk about it when you say number 3.
All right. So, Danny, you're up to number 4. What do you got?
So, number 3 is Allie. The only reason why it's kind of in the middle of the list is kind of what you said, Dave. I liked Allie, the character. I did not think she deserved that brutal. That should have been Brooke. I totally agree with Noah. Yep. That should have definitely been Brooke. But it's one of those, how do I say it? So you know how, because I'm a filmmaker, I like watching it both as a filmmaker and also as an audience member. As an audience member, it was gruesome. It was a wow factor. It was shocking. It was like, fuck, dude. Ah, goddamn, I did it again. Well, we're 49 and 10, whatever. So, yeah, dude, it really got me like, oh my God, this is insane, right? And as a filmmaker, though, to watch all the natural prosthetics and everything, the love that Damien puts into his work and everything else, because we saw it on stream when we live streamed last week and everything. Damien does a work of art that, you know, could be up there with the Jim Henson, you know, stuff, which is incredible. And so when we saw that happen, that's what I really, really enjoyed about it as well. It's just like, geez, especially that she's like all mangled up and still moving. Is like,
oh, and the animatronic looks so good too.
Yeah, it's so good. So it's like, dang, man. As an audience member, it will scar you. I think it's one of the best kills ever, to be honest. Like, if you want to go for gore and gruesome, I think that one takes the cake, is Ali's scene, honestly.
Yeah, there hasn't been a more brutal scene than that one, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The only reason why it's number 3, because my top 2, I'll tell you, like, my reasoning why. But yeah, for brutalness and for wow factor, I think that is probably the best scene in the franchise. So,
slow torture.
Yeah.
Already, man, we have to really get on the board with the Unalives, man. I slipped too. It's like, oh my God, it's so hard.
We gotta get shock collars every time we say it was shock. We get shocked.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's like you didn't know I was gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it.
All right. Anything to add to the Danny's number 3?
David, hold on. CG said something that was pretty cool. David Howard Thornton says that's his favorite Unalive moment. Oh, nice. Nice. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Dave? Did he say that when we interviewed him? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know which interview on our channel that he talked about where Ali stuck to the floor because of all the blood that she was in.
Yeah.
So they had problems with that part.
Yeah.
But he may have said that.
Yeah, CG, me and Dave have ADHD, so it's probably gone in our memory banks.
Gotta get a tile
so we got to rip off. Exactly. We got to double check our interview with him, but that's a good one.
All right. So no, what do you got?
So my number 3, why I didn't have anything to add to Danny's, is because my number 3 is also Ali scene, is the Ali scene. So I mean, like my scene, my number 3 for Ali scene is like, it's so brutal, right? Like, it's such a great scene. It's super brutal. It is, as Danny was saying, was very insane. I think to that point, though, it's just a little too much. It didn't make me like wince or like really like, oh, gross. Like, none of those scenes make me do that. I have problems apparently, because I was watching these scenes like, oh, look at those effects, bro. Those are fucking great. Look at that. Oh, arm's gone now. That's so just twist it off. Why not? Like, crank it off. Crank the yoinker. You know what I mean? Like, but I think at a certain point in that scene, I was like a little like, I'm watching. I was like, all right, this is getting like we're approaching like Green Inferno and stuff that I just wouldn't even fathom wanting to watch. Like stuff I wouldn't find interesting. Like the brutality of it really does show what art is and what he's capable of. I love that. I love the scene for doing that. But there are a lot of scenes that we saw in Terrifier 3 that are also like really gory, really, really brutal, but didn't need the, you know, salt and bleach inside a peeled back skin. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't need the kangaroo back Joey pocket filled with cleaning products. I think so. That's why it's only number 3, is because like it was a little much. It was a little much for me, but I love the scene overall. Like, it's showing truly what art is capable of and what's in store for this franchise. Because Jesus,
I think they're going to tone it down a little bit in the next one, to be honest. I think they're going to come back.
I think that they're going to focus, like, I don't think that they're going to like not do extensive gore, but I think that now they can kind of like focus more on the shock value they bring to their story instead of the shock value they bring to their Unalive scenes.
Yep. Alrighty. So, Marcus, what do you got at number 3?
So originally I had Cole and Mia, but to like Noah's point, it just became, I'm like, okay, this scene is going a little long, and I know that it's trying to do what Ali Scene did. So I switched it for Santa because I thought the liquid nitrogen was just cool. Yeah,
the liquid nitrogen is so cool.
Yeah, the liquid nitrogen was awesome. But that whole scene, like taking out the bartender, taking out Ron Howard's Cliff Howard, all of it was just awesome. That whole scene was great.
It's a fun scene to have in the movie. So not only are you getting the violence with it and the unaliving, but you're getting the fun build up to it, and then it just takes that shocking twist.
This one actually did not make my list. It was I think we're not doing. I don't think we're doing honorable mentions, but it was in there. It did not make my list officially.
Yeah, mine.
It was a tough call, but go ahead.
Go ahead, you guys go.
Yeah. No,
okay.
I agree.
It was a tough call to not add it to my list, but that was the point. It was the whole buildup of the scene before anybody even got taken out. That's what I loved the most about the scene, was just the Art being so funny towards Santa, and like seeing Santa outside and pushing the girls out of the way to go, like not even worrying about them as victims. So as far as we know, that's like one of the first few people that's encountered Art and has kind of made it out okay. Because like he's like, get out of my way, it's fucking Santa, I want to see Santa. And then you get that whole like build up scene. It's just hilarious. So I love that the most in that scene. The liquid nitrogen scene, it's so cool to see that, like the way he's using it. It's so awesome. But like, that wasn't my favorite part of the scene, so that's why I couldn't add it.
All right. So, spoiler: Mia and Cole did not make my list, and I'm going to have some. I'm going to have somebody in our chat hit on my number 3, so I'm going to let them announce it. But
he's so angry he left. He left.
After I do my number 3, Danny, before we go to number 2, Ashworth Games gave us their top 3, so we'll just reveal theirs real quick. But William Watson, the rat scene is a very close one, though. So that is my number 3. That is my number 3. I thought that one. Now, it wasn't really fun, but everything that was going on around it and the way the scene was used to torment Sienna and then Gabby afterwards, I thought that was great. But the rats in the throat, oh my God, what a way to go. And then the finishing touches was, let me slice the throat there and let them come back out. And then you see Art in the background stomping on the rats after we were done. So he just brought them for that. But yeah, the rat scene is definitely one of the ones that stood out to me. Probably the biggest one for 3 for me.
That's a good one.
All right,
Ashworth. Go ahead, Dave.
Number 1, Allie. I think we clicked on it at the same time.
Yeah, we did.
Number 1, Allie. Number 2, Cole, and number 3, Dawn. Very good one. Very good one. Let's see. We got any other comments on that before we move on to number 2? All right. Well, maybe that means she's going to be in somebody's top 2s or number 1s.
Maybe. You don't typically see people get split ass to mouth very often.
Oh, CG, the rats didn't survive. No. On your next watch, you'll see Art stomping the ground where they were at, and you hear them.
He's doing the stanky leg right all over them.
Yeah, and there we go. So positive empty. The rat scene will eat me for years to come.
Yeah.
Very, very poor choice of words with that one.
Yeah.
Very poor.
All right, so number 2. Danny, what do we got at number 2?
It's actually Dawn. Dawn is my number 2.
Oh, okay. Well, good thing. I'm so glad I said it.
That's my number 2 as well.
Woo! Yeah,
that's not my number 2.
Dawn is my number 2 because I remember when Dave said, hey, man, you got to watch the Terrifier franchise. So I'm watching it. Like I said, it's a little campy, whatever, very 80s, style. I was like, all right, whatever. But what really hooked me on Terrifier 1 was that scene. And I was just like, oh! All right.
It's like, wait, what's behind that curtain?
Oh, dude.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
The one thing that I wanted, though, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, the one thing I wanted, I was just like, listen, when they showed her fully in the nude, I'm not going to lie, I was like, he's going to cut off these. He's going to cut off these.
Not the titties.
And then all of a sudden, I was so wrong. I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, that's way worse. I think it's way worse.
Like, it's It's like the scene from Family Guy when Brian's showing Stewie 2 girls in a cup. He's like, oh, what are the oh.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it made a lasting impression that made me want to see part 2. And then and then on top of that, on when they killed Tara, that made me want to see part 2. And I was like, oh yeah, damn it, unalived. Ah,
shock him.
Demonetization, right? Yeah. No, but
the funny thing about that scene though is they alluded to it earlier in the script when they in the pizza shop in the dialogue.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Now I'm gonna have to
watch it again.
When Dawn and Tara are talking, she says something about being split or something.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta look this up. Damn it, Jim. I gotta look it up.
Everybody's watching Terrifier tonight.
The foreshadowing.
Hold on.
I need to see it.
Listen, you guys can continue after that. I said all I need to say. Now the ADHD brain is like Marcus said that. I gotta look it up.
Hold on, guys. I gotta leave the podcast real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to chase the squirrel.
Yep.
Yeah. So number 2 on my list, like when again we were talking about, it's like, well, everybody was talking about Terrifier, and I was like, oh, I gotta check out this movie. So the one day I just sit back, it was raining out, kicked on the movie, and we get to that scene. It's like, oh my god, this is so brutal. I don't really watch movies like with this much gore anymore, but I like it. And the scene was just so damn good. So, and then just to hear, like, honestly, I want to find out where this building is. Noah, you and I got to take a road trip because it's still set up the scene, because they were not allowed to go back there and take everything down because it was a condemned building. Yeah. So when we had Phil on the show and George Stuber talking about it, they said, yeah, we couldn't go back and take it down, so it's still there. It's like, oh, we got to go find it and just collect that stuff.
Is it it's in New York?
No, this is in New Jersey, this building.
Oh, for everyone watching, we are officially not doing this because going to look at condemned buildings would be considered trespassing. We would never do such a thing. So we're not doing that ever because that's not allowed. I hate Jersey. Why would I want to go to Jersey?
But I don't know. While we're waiting on Danny, because he's got to kick off our number ones, but so another interesting in that scene, I don't know if anybody's kind of noticed that, but like when she's hung upside down, you see a piece of the building fall to the side and smash to the ground. Yeah, that is not done intentionally. That is because the building was literally falling down around them as they were filming that scene.
It's because they had someone hanging upside down from a ceiling that was collapsing in.
All right, so I found the script. So allegedly, Dawn's line is, "What do you think he's going to hack me up into little pieces or something?" Wow!
Yeah, that was epic foreshadowing. That was in a pizzeria shop.
Yep.
Yep.
Noah got to do his number.
Well, at least it wasn't like. Yeah. No, you didn't do your number 2. I skipped over you.
No, Danny did his number 2, and then you said that your number 2 was the same as Danny's. Did Marcus do his?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, so go ahead. The ADHD. I'm off track. Yep.
Okay, so my number 2 is the rats in the funnel scene. And
okay. All right.
So when I was originally watching the scene, this shocked me in like a different way. Because like I'm watching the scene. First off, the effects on it were phenomenal. They were awesome. But I'm watching the scene, it's like, oh, they got the rats. And then I'm like, they're definitely gonna do that thing with like the rats in the bucket where like you heat them up, right? And then I see them pull out the matches, like, and then I see them pull out a tube. I was like, well, how is the tube thing gonna work? They need something, because there's a torture, like a real life torture method where you put a bunch of rats on your chest and then you put a metal bucket over them, and you heat up the bucket with a blowtorch, which you saw them have all this stuff except for the bucket. And then what the rats do is they need to find a way out, and they can't go through the bucket because it's heating up. So they have to go through the chest. And that's what I thought they were going to do. I was like, well, she's sitting up, so that's not going to make sense. And then I saw the funnel. I was like, what are they doing with the funnel? And then they put it in her mouth and started hammering it in. I was like, holy shit. And like that scene, like it got a little bit of a reaction out of me, because like she she was a cool ass character. She definitely didn't deserve that. And I feel like some of like the nicest characters just get the shittiest outcomes. And like that one, like first off, hammering it in, they broke her jaw. They then had that shit going almost all the way down her throat, and then the rats in, and then they cut them out. Like that's just, and she had to have been alive for most of that. That is absolutely like just awful. Like absolutely awful. So yeah, that's why it's my number 2.
Yeah, choking to death on rats. Oh boy. Oof.
Oh, do you feel a furry wet ball just ugh.
All right, Marcus, what do you got?
It's not even a frog in the throat. It's
So Jess is my number 2 as well.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
that scene was just wow. But as his nephew was saying, I could tell he's been watching Too Fast, Too Furious with the bucket and the blowtorch.
Funnily enough, I don't like the Fast and the Furious movies. I have only seen half of the first one.
Well,
you can thank DC.
The way you described it was
for that.
straight out the movie.
You can thank DC Comics for that, and then Google for the rest.
Fun story. David Howard Thornton said that scene with Jess is the one that made him nauseous, and it wasn't because of the rats. It was because of the fake puke that they used, that they had her spewing. It was like some type of clam chowder or something, so it was making him Earl on set.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that that's not even the scene that made most people walk out is kind of crazy. Oh, a couple of kids got whacked, and suddenly it's a problem. Grow up.
No, see, I'm thinking, like I told everybody last week, it's the eye. The eyeballs what got everybody with the Hostel movie, and it got them here with this one. Now, funny enough, Marcus put me on to this, where that scene was everything in that scene. Nothing came from The Shining. It all came from the Tales from the Crypt, and then the Tales from the Crypt TV show. They did the exact same thing, just with a fire poker.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, Larry Drake played Maniac Santa in that.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode, dude. That's one of my favorite Tales of the Crypt episodes.
But
hell yeah.
Wasn't in that episode that they said that the kid was okay though?
No, nothing happens to the kids in the TV show. It's just that the getting chased through the house and coming through the door was from Tales from the Crypt. The washing of the dishes was from the Tales from the Crypt Christmas episode in the movie that inspired the TV show. So all that stuff came from it, and even the mask hanging on the door is from Tales from the Crypt that Art eventually snags and puts on his face. So let's take a look at some comments. Yeah, let's take a look at a couple of comments before we get to our number ones here. So let's see here.
I got one, Dave.
We got. All right, you pop up the next one.
All right.
No one is going to mention the attic scene. I don't know. I don't know if that's in anybody's number ones. I don't think so, though.
No.
The most brutal part of that scene was the knife, was the glass.
Yeah. So
yeah,
the one
was the mock crucifixion.
Yeah, that's true. This was one of my favorite.
That was brutal, but somebody played a DJ with a blade on themselves.
That's true. That's so funny. King of Sanity. King of Sanity. I've been watching your comments too. All your comments are funny as hell. But yeah, this one had me because I was just like, that is actually hilarious.
Hey, it was only the Note 7.
Then we got this one who the scene reminded me of The Evil Dead. So brutal. Terrifier 3 is just fire. Yep. Definitely that scene with the melting of Victoria, definitely from Evil Dead 1.
Yeah.
All right, so Danny, what do you got at number 1?
All right, so my number 1 is, I have to explain why this is my absolute favorite. All right, but my number 1 is Mia and Cole. All right. And the reason why Mia and Cole is my favorite, it's not because of the kills. Like I said, Allie's Unalive. The reason why Allie's Unalive was like I said, was probably the best unaliving in the entire franchise. However, the Mia and Cole subtleties leading up to the scene was absolutely phenomenal in my eyes. So I'll
Yeah,
give
'cause
you
it
an
ties it in.
example. Oh yeah, when Mia was telling Cole, I want to know what it is to look into his eyes, right? And then when she was like, "Oh, he's worse than Jack the Ripper" and stuff like that, and you had to see David Howard Thornton like, "Oh, stop!" You know what I mean? This whole buildup
Oh yeah, he's like, oh,
of
you sound
art.
like you want to fuck him. I don't want to fuck him. He gets pissed.
Yeah, he gets mad, right? And so you see that Art is really listening and he is stalking his prey. And then when they do the shower scene, and yeah, poor Cole gets it up the up the booty. You know what I mean? But
Up
that's
the
not
anus.
why. Yeah, up the anus. No, but my the reason why it's my favorite is when she's all in the corner, nose hanging off, all discombobulated, and he takes off the glasses and stares into her eyes because she wanted to do that. And then he puts the glasses on her and boops her on the nose.
What's left?
Dude, what? Yeah, exactly. What's left of it? But what are we doing? Like, that scene was so well written for me as a filmmaker, myself as a moviegoer to enjoy. That's why it's my favorite. It literally is, because
Yeah, because like
all the other ones, all the other unalivings is
Mhm.
just, yeah, he shows up and unalives them. Cool. But this was part of the story. This was a part of dialogue that actually comes into fruition, and it goes to show you, be careful what you wish for. It's out of control. Loved it.
Don't forget,
Now-
he stared
now,
at her
granted, the scene
while he
with
was
the chainsaws.
attacking Cole.
Mhm.
Like they were
The scene
face to
with the
face.
chainsaw on its own is just so much fun. But like like when you're watching all of the scenes in Terrifier 3, they're just so much fun to watch. They're just like you're like, oh, that's so brutal, like the scene in the mall and the scene with the kids. But you're watching the scene and then also having the information prior, and like you're seeing it all like connect, and like that stare down at the end. Like you're watching the scene, it's like it's brutal and it's great to watch, but you're sitting there and you're just like your heart's like beating like in an actual like intense thriller scene. It's like, wow, this is intense to see, and that's why it's also my number one as well, for pretty much all the reasons that Danny says. Like,
wow.
because it sounds a little bit hypocritical when I said that you don't want to bring previous scenes or scenes that build up into scenes, but the thing with this particular unaliving is that it all ties into one another. So like when they're talking about it, and then it like with what Mia is saying, and then he brings it in, and that it all ties in at the end to what is going on. That makes it a part of the scene. That makes it a part of the whole interaction, because there isn't that same feeling with this particular scene without the build up for it. Because the Santa stuff, like if Art the Clown put a bomb gift in a mall, it wouldn't have like as nearly the same fun effect, but it would still be like, wow, he just blew up a bunch of kids in a mall. With this particular, like, you know, it with that extra bit in there, like where they're talking about it, and like he's just sitting there, as you said, stalking them and showing just truly how sadistic and also how intelligent he is as well. Which because you see the brutality in what he does and the creativity in what he does, but you're now seeing like his just he's right there in plain sight, and they don't see him because he's just standing there, just chilling. He's listening. He's like, you know, taking this all information. And he's like, let me show you. And he just does in a big way. And then the whole like scene where like they're trying to fight him off with the chainsaw. It's like, well, they're doing a kind of a good job. And then he gets them, and then it starts going down. I was like, that whole build up to the first time the chainsaw gets hit on Cole is just like, that in itself is really intense. So like this scene, it deserves the recognition that it's getting, because like even in the trailers, like, oh, this scene's gonna be cool. It is cool, and it outlived its expectation from the trailer. So like, yeah, absolutely number one for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, and to talk about homages. Talk about homages. You know, the way Art was holding the chainsaw is very similar to Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When he's like, ah, and then he, you know, it's a really cool thing to
I saw
see
this in a
all
movie
the
once.
homages playing out. Yeah, I saw it in a movie.
Now, this didn't make
I
my
don't know
list.
if it was.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it was intentional by Damien and George and them, but when you see Art come up to the shower glass, it was rather similar to Ghostface in Scream 6 when he walked up to the
Psycho, buddy.
psychiatrist smoke glass.
Yeah. This one is
Well, I
done
know
off
it
of
was from
Psycho.
Psycho, but I mean, like, even with the stain on the glass, it looked like Ghostface walking up to the smoke glass in Scream 6.
Yep, I can see that. Now, this doesn't make my list because there was nothing that Art took from this that he used psychologically against any of his future victims. So it was almost like a throwaway. Almost like even like with the Santa Claus and the bombing at the mall, there's just, hey, these people are in my way, I'm just mowing them down. Where the scenes that I have on my list are all used intentionally to taunt what was coming next.
I mean, this one definitely, I get that too, but this is definitely intentional. I mean, like, they weren't in the way. It was, if I'm not mistaken, like, he's on his way. He's on his way to Jonathan. No, because think about it. He's on his way to Jonathan. He's on his way to Jonathan, and he overhears a conversation.
Also thinking
and by him overhearing the conversation made him go this way.
No,
actually, he wasn't on his way to Jonathan.
No, I know.
He wasn't on his way to Jonathan.
When the movie started out, he was going
buildings.
after people. It wasn't with the intent of going after Sienna and Jonathan. I think that was brought to his attention later on in the film. So I feel like most of these things that he was doing was just because he was doing what he does, which is take people out. Because because it seemed like when somebody mentioned either Jonathan, I think when Bia mentioned Jonathan's name, he's like, "Oh, what?" Or I might be misremembering something, but I could have sworn something like that happened, where like somebody said Jonathan or Sienna's name, and then it's like they're still around, and then he started going with motive towards them. But I think that most of these were just spree.
No, he was drawn. I mean, he kills. I mean, he unalives people to unalive them, but he was always drawn. In this one, he was drawn to Jonathan and
Sienna.
Sienna.
I know that.
Jonathan was in a different building.
It doesn't matter. He was on the campus. But he was on the campus for a reason. He was on the campus looking for him.
He was at the Beta Bash.
That's when
he was at the Beta Bash.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be there, remember? And so that's my point. He was going to Jonathan, overhears this conversation, and goes, "Oh, I'm going to show him." Especially when she's talking about both of them and Art the Clown or something like that. Come on, man.
You were gonna sell me on he was supposed to be there, and Art's just gonna know. Look, I got Jonathan's itinerary here. He's gonna be at the Beta Bash.
Dude, they have a connection. They have a spiritual connection.
Victoria said that.
Yeah, they have a spiritual connection.
Do you think that him even showing up there coincidentally is because of their connection? So like he showed up there.
Jonathan was never going. Jonathan was never going to the Beta Bash. He just said he was going there to get Sienna off his back.
I don't know, man.
He threw the fit in the room. He took some pills.
I think his intention was that he was gonna go. I think he was really, really gonna go to that thing.
Yeah, and like I said, Sienna upset him.
Yeah,
and then, until Sienna upset him. Mia say that what they said about Jonathan at the party, and then they basically led Art back to the dorms.
Yeah.
So
and like I said,
that would imply intent, like not necessarily intent as to why he took them out, but it does show why he ended up showing up there. Because I think the reason he went to the party was just to go fuck people up. I don't think it was because he knew Jonathan was going to be there. So I think I think his memory was getting jogged because they were talking about Jonathan, and then he chases that or brings it or follows them to the campus, takes them out, and then off screen he takes out Jonathan.
Well, you know what? Since we can't settle this debate, put it in the comments, guys. I seen Logic Space just came back from the theater watching it. CG and everybody, you guys saw Terrifier 3. Put it in the comments. What do you think? Do you think Art was actually going after Jonathan, or do you think this was just some unaliving just randomly? What do you think?
I mean, regardless of what it was, him going after Mia and Cole, that doesn't take away from the scene against Mia and Cole. That wouldn't take away from its top one scene for me, because the setup and then the payoff is what I'm talking about, not its overall build towards the story.
All right. Marcus, what do you got at number one?
So my number one is Allie. I mean, just the whole build up of her antagonizing with his with her dialogue to him wanting candy, and she was just giving him shit. I mean, he took it personal.
Would it have saved her? No. Would it have made it maybe quicker? Maybe.
Wait,
I guess we'll never know because she never gave him the goddamn candy.
No, she did.
Oh,
she
threw it at him, to him after he was aggressive about it. But she could have been like, "Oh yeah, here you go, trick or treat," like the spirit of trick or treating. Don't be a bitch about it. That was
that's what I'm saying. She was being antagonizing towards him, and he took it
was
personally.
very Sam-like. Oh, that was very Sam-like. That was very Sam-like.
Don't give him candy, lose your arm.
See, I think the kill was random, but he was on a mission to get Sienna, and I think Jonathan was a bonus. Either way, Art is somehow some bullshit. It's awesome.
All right, so my number one is
that's his thing.
Yeah, that's true. my number one is Noah's number 5, and it's the Clown Cafe. I love that scene. Yep, the dream, being in the dream world, the Tommy gun, the blowtorch. Seeing Sienna struggle to get the sword, I think that whole entire scene is just fantastic. It's one of the best scenes in the entire franchise, I think.
Yeah, I could agree on
that.
I
have to piggyback. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I think, Dave, to what we theorized last time, I hope this was a real thing that Sienna's mind was just going back into a memory. You know what I mean? Like, I hope this was like a real life event when Art was just a serial killer before he was a demon, you know, and we get a little some of that. Like I said, I don't want an Art background. I don't want, he was a guy that sucked, you know, no,
he was abused as a child.
Yeah. I don't want any of that. I just, to know that the Clown Cafe was real, like a real event, that would be hella dope. You know, they don't even have to do it into a flashback. They can do it in an article that they came up, and she's like, "What? This is real!" Whoa, you know, like I think it'd be great.
I actually always viewed the Clown Cafe as one of the circles of hell.
What if it's
like she was actually
souls that were captured and are being tortured in the Clown Cafe, but are being forced to be happy in the scene?
Yeah, like I said, circle of hell. Yeah, circle of hell. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
The piggyback on Allie, though, somebody in the comments said that when Art gave her the blood eagle, split her back and then split her hand, they both look normal in the next scene, but that's not true. You still see her back flapping and her fingers flapping a little bit.
That was brutal. That part of them.
It's like, no, stop! Don't do that. There's so many other.
Like I said, poor Allie did not deserve that, bro.
Justice for Allie. We'll get
it
on a
for real.
t-shirt.
Justice for Allie, bro.
All right. Oh my gosh, what happened to her?
Before we get to that one question, this one a very interesting comment. So Logic Space just got back from the theater. There was a girl about 5 rows in front of me that was crying. The rat scene made me sick to my stomach, not gonna lie. Classic horror. I give it 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Wow, somebody crying at the theater? That's nope. Wow.
My
dude,
condolences for you not being able to handle said things.
Yeah.
Dude, I told you, Dave, and for those of you that didn't tune in last week, there were all a variety of people in the theater I was in. I mean, we had some real psychos in there that were cheering for everything, like, yeah, destroy them. And I'm like, oh, well, all of us are getting unalived right now here in this theater. This is great, right? But there was a couple next to me, that guy and a girl, and both of them, both guy and girl were like this, doing these and like, and I'm just like, here I am, you know, doing my sound effects as I always do in horror movies, like, like, you know, everyone else like,
part of me would love to be able to go to a horror movie or watch a horror movie for the first time and have those genuine reactions, because then you're getting the genuine feeling that horror is supposed to offer you. But at the same time, I'm glad that I can watch these movies and just genuinely appreciate not only what they're trying to do to like scare people, but also just like the stories that they kind of that like because when you can make something like a horror film or story or anything like that, and it like you're able to twist certain elements in a way that really just curdles your stomach from whether it's gore or psychological, then you're just creating you're creating a whole category of art that most people because art entices reaction. That's the whole point of art. And when you're watching these horror films and you're about to like you're feeling queasy or you're crying or like you're seeing these things like, oh my god, what the fuck, he just axed that kid to unalive it in the beginning sequence of Terrifier 3. You're getting those reactions. So it leaves an element of just being some gore fest for sadists, and more into like you're enjoying a whole new category of art that's being told on the big screen. That's just my just my take on it.
And to your point too, to piggyback off of that, just his body language, art not being able to speak, being a mime, the body language makes you cringe, makes you laugh, makes you everything. And that goes with this comment here. I cried laughing a few times. I think all of us did. Positive amputee, because
and you feel weird about it because he's doing these funny ass things while he's ripping people in half. It's like, oh my god, what is wrong with me, Jesus?
It's a perfect balance.
Yeah,
it's a perfect balance.
Yeah, like when he put the acid to Brooke's face and she's screaming like this, and he does the same thing. Like that. It's just like that was really funny, but really brutal at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, and also when he does the fake out swings, it's like, stop being that's such a dick move, bro. Like you don't have to do that. Like, geez.
Yeah, art's probably maybe one of the few slashers, or if not the only slasher, that you would not want to encounter in real life.
No,
with Jason and Michael, I'm probably going to be able to outrun you guys, and I'm one of those people that can control my own dreams, so I'm not worried about Freddy.
If we're talking about getting caught and taken out by them, I would still take anybody else over Art the Clown, based off of what he's done. Not anybody. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to the doctor from the Human Centipede, but like Jason and Michael Myers, like they're just gonna come at me with brute force. I'd much rather get folded in half in a bed than get my skin ripped off my body and severely deep throated by rats.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think Art has some brutal kills, but when you're outrunning Jason, it's not like a Michael Myers that he just walks. Like, Jason disappears when you look back, and then when you look forward, he's right there. You know what I mean? And then also, I mean, Jason had some pretty brutal kills too. I mean, the whole belt around the eyes and tightening it until it kind of kept going and going and going and going onto the person's head. That's pretty brutal as well.
Technically Jason. That was imposter Jason.
Roy.
That was Roy.
But still, that's still the spirit of Jason inside of Roy. Yeah, it's still
this
brutal,
isn't Halloween with the spirits of evil. He was just being a bitch because his kid died over a piece of chocolate.
No, man. No. Because remember, they were talking about how the soul of Jason bounces through everyone. Hence why in the end of 4, allegedly, it was supposed to be that the soul went into that kid that survived, and they retconned that. Remember, for the 5th movie. So, just saying.
If we're talking about actual Jason Voorhees killers, though, because that would also imply that we care about the whole...
Or 5th to 6th, sorry.
That means that we're also implying that we care about what happens with Jason Goes to Hell when someone's eating his brains. And I don't even want to think about that. Like, I don't even want to think about that. So, like, if we're talking about just purely Jason Voorhees... What's up?
I think that was a cop-out from, like, them retconning the first one, that his soul can bounce because it was based off of black magic, into, now you have to... The organs are talking to you, and you have to eat it. You know what I mean?
Because in an alternate reality, all these movies that came out in the 80s would have played out perfectly into their own universe because of the Evil Dead. But we don't get that shit because of licensing and other dumb stuff.
Look at that. Noah plugging my theory that I just dropped last week. Anyway, so before I get to Ashworth Games' question, I really want to. So, have any of you been to a movie where somebody got up or had that reaction where they were crying or got up and left because they were nauseous from a movie that you saw? Marcus, I'm gonna start with you this time.
Terrifier 2.
Yeah. Wow.
Several people got up and was just grossed out. Yeah.
Interesting. I saw that movie 13 plus times. Nobody ever left my theater.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, how about you?
So I've never been to a movie theater where somebody's walked out, but I've shown a group of friends The Thing, and they, for the first time, and they all collectively agreed that I had to turn it off and we had to watch something else. So we watched Willy's Wonderland instead, because they couldn't get through the dog scene. So they're watching the dog. Like, I get it. All of my friends really love their animals. So that we're in the first scene being like, some of them were like trying to ask me to turn it off when the dog was getting shot at in the beginning. I was like, relax, it's gonna get much worse than this. and then when we get to the scene where they have to basically take out all the dogs, they're like, "Yep, nope, we can't. Nope, we want it off." I was like, "All right." So then we watched Willy's Wonderland, and everyone loved that movie. So that's probably like the closest I've gotten to it. Which, like I said, I understand. The Thing is not for the faint of heart. It's like these Terrifier movies. It's not for the faint of heart for people to watch.
All right. How about you, Danny?
No, I've never been to a horror movie in the theater that people walked out. Like I told you, I really had to go to the bathroom at the end of 3, so maybe everyone was like, "Oh, that guy had to run out," but no, I had to run out because if not, there was gonna be piss everywhere. But
that 32 ounce was catching up,
dude. I mean, I had friggin' alcohol, and then I had my regular drink and all that, so I was good through the entire movie. I was like, I'm not going to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden at the end, I'm like, no, I have to. Oh my god, right? But I think, but yeah, no, I haven't seen anyone in the theater. Yeah, just like art on Santa CG. Yeah. Yeah, no, I never had anyone walk out of a horror movie. I only walked out on one movie in my entire life, and that was what was it? It wasn't Sin City. It was what is the other one that was part of the Sin City franchise? It was terrible. No, the one that the hero had a tie and the red tie and the hat. Is it the Phantom, something like that? Spirit, yo, son. I walked out of that movie halfway through. I was like, this is trash. Oh my god, that was so many. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't think it's a movie I've walked out on, but I turned off the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street halfway through.
Yeah, I sat through Eon Flux in the theaters. I sat through the remake of Fun with Dick and Jane, but Family Camp came out 2 years ago. Nope, 25 minutes in, I left. Couldn't handle it anymore. But real quick, for me, before we get to questions, with me, Hostel is the only movie that I went to where people ran out. So it was on the eye scene, which I've talked about this week and last week, and then somebody ran out on the toe cutting scene too. So somebody's like, no, and I heard it was like, boom, gone.
Now I will say I fell asleep on In a Violent Nature.
Oh,
I was out. I was out cold, man. I was so bored with it.
That movie was.
Oh my god!
Just run already!
About that
just
scene
run! Yeah, the yoga scene.
Dude. The hostel scene, though, I'm not gonna lie, that was brutal. That was brutal with the eye. I'm watching it. I watched Hostel at home in the middle of the day with my folks. My folks were watching it. And I'm like, what are you guys watching? And they were watching Hostel, and then I watched the entire movie after that. But I walked in while they were watching it on the eye scene. I was like, oh! And then so now I'm watching this. I'm like, oh! And it caught me. I was like, oh, shit! And then they cut it off. I'm like, ah! And so then after that, I was like, yo, I gotta watch this entire movie, bro. And I did,
coming down,
yeah. I was like, Jesus. And then what's even worse, though, I think I forgot who I asked. I asked someone in the medical field. I don't know if it was like my science teacher in college or something like that. I don't know who it was, but I asked someone. I'm like, yo, is that like real possibility? And they said yes. I was like, Jesus, that sucks. Yeah. Insane.
So, real fast fact, Hostel is almost inspired by real events. So stuff like that does happen overseas.
Ugh.
Yep. So Ashworth Games asked this a long time ago, so we're getting to it now. What was your introduction to the series, and what is your favorite Unalive moment. So we talked about our favorites, but introduction to the movies, we kind of talked about that last week too, or a week before that. But let's start over with that. So Danny, what was your introduction, just for those that are unaware?
Yeah, so for those of you that just popped in, I see a couple of new people popping in. So thank you again for watching our video, guys. Like I said, like, subscribe, share to everybody. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, so for those of you that are unaware, Dave put me on it. Dave said I needed to watch it, especially because Terrifier 2 just dropped on streaming and everything else. And he's like, hey, man, you got to watch these stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. And so that was my introduction to the series. The favorite Unalive moment obviously was Dawn. That's what hooked me. And then Tara being a final girl, psych out, that was incredible. So that's what caught me onto the series the entire time. So yeah.
All right, and then Noah.
So I mean, with this series, I was introduced and then reintroduced a couple different times. They're all by you. So the original was All Hallows Eve because we were checking it out. It was nothing like too spectacular. Like first looks originally watching, I was like, it wasn't bad, but it was very much like low budget, independent short films. And then watching Terrifier 1, it was like, let's watch this movie. I think you'll like it. Initially watching it, I wasn't a fan of it again, so that kind of turned me off from watching those movies again if they decided to make one again. But watching the first Terrifier movie and then seeing that they were connected by like the same director and having the same character, I was like, I didn't foresee a second one happening, like at least not anytime soon. And so I wasn't really concerned about it because actually the Tara scene, when that happened, I was like, oh, well, I really liked Tara, and you just took her out, so now I really have no interest because I would have liked to have seen her in the sequel if they had made one. And then they made the sequel, and then my dad was like, hey, why don't we check it out? I was like, well, I've seen the other two movies, might as well check it out. And then I watched, I was like, wow, that was fucking awesome. So it stuck with part 2, and then watching part 3, and then going back and rewatching All Hallows Eve and Terrifier 1 is my introduction, reintroduction, and then finally full embracement of all of the movies, because rewatching them brought a lot of stuff into it that I didn't remember, that I was like, oh shit, that had some really cool stuff in it that I don't remember. So, and like a new appreciation for it as well, from growing as a writer as well. So that's my introduction. But now we'll kick it to Marcus.
Yeah, I thought Marcus. I thought Damien would have played a little bit more influence in you watching part 2 than I did, because when you had met him and talked with him about the whole writing process and filmmaking process, you seemed to be more engaged with Terrifier after meeting Damien and talking to him about filming.
That was after Terrifier 1. That was after Terrifier 1 that we had met, and his advice was basically that I mean, everything's working great for him, and I love that. And his advice was that he did have the ability to have a potential fallback plan if his career didn't work out, but his motto to that was fuck that, because he said that if you don't want to give your 110% into it, that it's probably not gonna work out for you, and there's still a chance that it won't work out for you. But he basically, the way that he's saying is that he would have rather crashed and burned doing what he loved instead of having that potential fallback plan in case, oh, God forbid it didn't work out, I could just go back to this. Which really kind of like stuck with me that he was doing this because, he care about it. So like when you're showing these genuine passions, and then you see all these films that have been coming out, even when we talked to him, and this is before the first Terrifier movie came out, so this is what, 2019, our second movie came out, so it was 2019, and we're talking to Damien and David, and it's like these movies are starting to get kind of like, we're starting to notice how everyone's getting tired of these like just movies to make cash movies. And then we get and now we're past Avengers Endgame. We're into COVID-19, getting 50,000 hours of Avengers content that we don't want to see. And then there's all this, and then we're getting Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. And then we're seeing what people want. So this bringing me into it initially was the introduction was with my father, and then talking to Damien is what really not only sealed me on what like continuing with the franchise and giving it another shot, but also really pushed me forward to like want to be a part of this career, because I was still like on the fence about it, and that's why I wanted to talk to him. It was like, I don't really know if it's something that I think is worth my time if I'm gonna fall out of it or not gonna make it. And then that was kind of like that biting the bullet, making the decision was like, shit, this is something that I genuinely am passionate about, and everything else is just going through the motions in my brain's on autopilot until I get to do what I actually want to do, which is stuff like this.
Yep.
So
All right,
thanks,
Marcus, how
man.
about you?
For me, it goes all the way back to 2008 with the Ninth Circle. So I know a lot of people think All Hallows Eve was the first introduction, but even though it is the first two shorts combined into a feature. So yeah, I go all the way back to 2008, man. And then Dave reintroduced me to it with Terrifier 2016. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I already know about this character. You know, so yeah.
Yeah,
1 second.
All right. I haven't mentioned it a little bit earlier. Was that I was an admin for the Horror Family on Facebook. We had a massive reach, and I started seeing Art to Clown pop up in posts, and I was like, this is interesting. I need to go track it down. So I found it within probably a week of it coming out on Netflix, and then I was just hooked from there. And then, having met everybody, it kind of pulled me in a little bit more. And, this is horror movies by fans for fans. All right, let's see. Do we got any other questions out there? Let's see, or let's see what comments we got out there. Oh, this is a good one. So CG's mentioned out there, since 2016, I told and argued with people about how awesome and standout Art the Clown was and is. Yeah, I agree with that. We had William with a response right afterwards too. Yeah, me too, CG. I was putting people onto him, and they all seemed to think he was going to be a one-hit wonder. And now look at him. Yeah, and that's something like we saw a lot of. There's a lot of slashers that have have made attempts to break through. Some of them really good, some of them really bad, and the ones that always come to me. There's the three greatest slashers of this century is Art the Clown, it's Leslie Vernon, and it's Sam from Trick or Treat. And the other two are one-hit wonders.
Yeah, William, actually, he went from YouTube long before Netflix to being the #1 movie. Remember, the Ninth Circle came out on YouTube first.
And then not only that, to your point, Dave, Sam is such an icon right now that people are tired of waiting for Trick or Treat 2. They want it to come out, and I know they've been pushing it back, It was supposed to come out way earlier. Obviously, the Kung Flu happened, all this other jazz. You know what I mean? And but I really do think Trick or Treat 2, when it comes out, it's gonna definitely spin some heads if they do it well as an anthology series, as they usually are. Like I said, me and Marcus agreed. One of our favorites is Halloween 3 because it was supposed to be an anthology. So I can't wait. I hope Sam does come back. But what I would really love to see. And I know this is a shot in the dark, and I know some people won't agree with me, but since it is an anthology series for Trick or Treat, why not? Because it's on Halloween, right? Why not have a Michael Myers story happening in Trick or Treat?
Ooh, that'd be nice.
That'd be dope, right? Yeah, that it's happening on Halloween. It's totally separate, and they all coincide somehow, like an anthology series, how John Carpenter originally wanted.
That would be the safest way to start getting Michael Myers back into the mainstream safely without making people vomit from hearing another movie's coming.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so
and you could tie it all the way back to part 2, where he says, he celebrates the Sam Hain.
Yeah,
Sam being Sam Hain.
Yep. And then also that ties it into 3, because 3, the whole thing about the whole cult of the Sam Hain, you know what I mean? It works out, man. It would really work out. It was great.
Yep. All right, so let's see. CG's got on there. I love the practical effects, B-movie 80 horror style, plus Damien is a student of the horror game, and you could tell how much he is a true fan mixed with his talent. It's just amazing. Yeah, that's 100% true.
CG, we were talking about that in stream. So we live stream. I don't know if you were a part of that or not last week, but
we stream.
Yeah,
we stream.
Yeah, we live stream. But yeah, with the watch party, man, Damien doing all the practical effects on it, you can tell, man, it brought stream to another level, to be honest. It was just talent, like you said, impeccable talent that, you know, to Noah's point, let's say this is Damien's baby and then no other movie of his blows up. He always has a career doing this for other horror films and whatnot. It's incredible.
Yeah, I guess in closing, unless anybody has a topic they want to talk about in closing, but for that live stream, when we talk about students of horror and watching that, so anybody, if you haven't watched Stream yet and you rent it, you buy it, go ahead and sync it up. This is the second time you watch it with our watch party on the channel here. And you listen to Mike Levy going through every single little detail and Easter egg that's in that movie. And it's mind-blowing about the amount of detail and history that they pulled into for this movie. There's got to be almost 100 Easter eggs and references in this movie that I didn't even see, because he was like, oh, well, this is how we pulled this piece and this is how we did that piece. And that, it's like, I was just amazed. I'm going to go sit back and just listen to him talk about it. It's just so
yeah,
good.
absolutely. And the thing I love about Mike Levy too, and I'm very sure Damien's the same way, because you know he was giving you tidbits, Noah, but Mike Levy was answering questions even behind the scene movie magic. You know, I put it, you know, besides the other commenters asking certain questions and he answering them. One of my favorites is that I put in the chat a question and then he answered it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, this is what we did. This is how we made it happen." And it's just like, when it comes to filmmakers, sometimes some people look at other people as competition and don't want to reveal their magic tricks. And you can tell Mike Levy's not like that. Mike Levy's like, we're eating, everyone can get fed. Here's what we did. And it's awesome. It really is awesome.
All
to
right.
answer
So,
CJ's question, the night circle is in color, not black and white.
Yep. Well, it's like a weird coloring, right? It's like a yellow tone. Yeah, a yellow blue tone or something like that.
Vignette.
Yeah. He asked if it's not the black and white, is it the one with the devil on the cover?
The night circle, yeah.
CG, if you're looking for it and you haven't found the link, let me know. I shared it with the boys 2 weeks ago, so I have that link. Just reach out to me on Facebook, and then I'll set you up with that link. I have the link for the follow-up short film as well.
And we have the link for our link tree, so you can follow us on all platforms. Hey, shameless plug.
There you go. And with that, don't forget to like, drop some comments, subscribe to the Danny Vega Show. Go check out the Easter egg video that we just dropped yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It was late last night by the time I got it done. So there's 66 references on there. And then tomorrow on the channel is the Behind the Mask reunion interview with David J. Stevie. We have Angela Gothels, we have Ben Pace, and we have Nathan Basil. So we have the 4 of them on, and they're diving into Behind the Mask stuff. So be sure to tune into that. And then that's it. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back.
Stay tuned next week for our Halloween podcast, because that is our Halloween podcast. Are we dressing up?
Yeah, we can dress up. We can talk about that.
Hell yeah.
All right. See everybody later. Have a good one.
Peace. Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Don't forget to hit the little bell button to get all the notifications.
The noties.